report.
It's not actually a newsletter. What it is, it's a members section on the website where there's exclusive interviews on there, and there's all kind of court documents too. We have all the lawsuits, the Trump University lawsuit documents on there, all kinds of stuff on Jeffrey Epstein, which connects to this too as well, because his attorney was Ken Starr again.
Yeah,
this bizarre connection, small world, like you say.
Yeah. I met Ken Starr.
Okay.
I was speaking in Boston, and so was he. And there was kind of a strange thing. I was in the lobby of the hotel. This is 10 years ago now, but long after he was out of the independent office of business. And I saw him come in this cowboy hat and this cowboy boots. And I was like, darn, that's Ken Starr. And I was at the front desk, and I walk away. I go up to my room. And I put some stuff in my room, and I came out, and there he is getting into the room next door to me. I was just like, oh, can't be for real. He's sleeping next door to me, Ken Starr. So I didn't bother him. I waited for breakfast, and the next morning we were at we were being put up by the Boston University, so they put us in you can eat breakfast privately upstairs. And it was just he and I in the breakfast room, and I said, Mr. Starr, do you remember me? He looks at me and says, no, I don't. I said, Patrick Knowlton. And honest to God, his face just dropped. Like, that was really a pain in that guy's neck. I'm pretty sure of it. And he said, oh, yes, you never know who you're going to run into. It's really true. I was told that once. You never know who you're going to run into. And I said, well, I'm going to do you a favor. So I'm going to pray for you because you lied. You lied about me. You lied about everything in the Foster case. So I'm going to pray for you that you go to heaven. Some way you get to heaven because you're such a good Christian man. I walked out of the room. I had my picture taken first with him before I walked out of the room. That's on the internet. The picture of me and Ken Starr together in Boston.
It is a small world. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this now. There can be no doubt that the Ken Starr investigation was a cover-up of the Foster murder, like you say. Brett Kavanaugh was involved in this cover-up. Why is it that these right-wingers, these QAnon conspiracy groups, these bizarre people who would agree with you about Vince Foster would then be supporting the guy who was part of the cover-up? How does that work?
I can only say that there's only probably two people on that panel, Feinstein. No, Miss Graham was. I guess a few of them were there. I think they're so removed from the whole Foster thing that because, again, everybody was told not to talk about it, that they don't even bring it up in the hearings too much. I think they brought it up once in the hearings, mentioned that he was on the investigator, but everybody steers clear of that. They just steer clear of it. Like I say, both aisles know, both sides of the chamber knows why Vince Foster was killed. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty well known. They know, and people are told not to go near it. Don't go near it. Don't write about it. Don't report it. Don't. And Brett was part of that. Brett's part of the larger cover-up. And again, it goes to his. If they're talking about if this man is honest or not, I'm going to say again, he lied about my grand jury appearance. I'm 100% sure that he's the one who leaked that I was going to be, or maybe had me harassed. I don't know what kind of power he had, but he certainly was the one who knew I was being subpoenaed the next day to go before the grand jury, and I was harassed. Right. He denied having any part of that. I asked him right in the grand jury, were you part of this? He denied that. And, of course, he denied that he asked me that question in the grand jury, and we have notes now, handwritten notes from Hickman Ewing, who was Ken Starr's assistant, talking about, Brett wanted to get this genital things, don't have it put in the paper, let's get rid of it. Interesting stuff. So he's not a very forthcoming, honest person. I mean, and even when we went to confront him in these events that he was at, one time he said to me, please don't do this. My mom and dad are here.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? You're here speaking with a group of lawyers and your parents are in the audience and you ask me, don't ask you embarrassing questions because your parents are here? I mean, he is an only child, I guess, but I do think he has a lot of flaws, and I think, I said this, and my wife's a very liberal woman too, and she thinks it's a shame that these women have to go through what they're going through get something off their mind, off their chest, things that traumatize them, and then to be attacked on the other side of it too for coming forward. And I just think that.
What do you make of the whole?
Nothing's going to come out of it. I think he's going to slide in. I think that's my.
It sounds like he knows where the bodies are buried, literally. No. What do you make of his tantrum and his meltdown? Have you seen that in his personality before? The crying. Oh, did I lose you? I just think we just lost our buddy here. Let me pull him back up. I hate when this happens, man. We had trouble establishing this call. I got the weirdest dial tone when I was first trying to catch you. Patrick Knowlton. The book is As If It Never Happened, and his website is fbicover-up.com. I hope we don't lose him altogether because he is vacationing in Mexico. Are you there?
Ed?
Yeah.
Yes. My phone dropped out. I'm sorry about that.
That's not your fault. I tell you, it's been a weird all morning. Now, the question I was asking you, though, when the call dropped was, what do you make of his tantrum, his crying, the drinking the water, his temperament? What'd you make of that?
Well, people who scream the loudest are sometimes guilty.
Right.
I thought being on the defense like that was really a very bizarre behavior, especially for somebody of his rank and file, the second highest court in the land. He should have more composure than that. And that whole, he claims to be this great Catholic, I'm a Catholic too, but he claims to be this great person who prays with his daughters every night. And
yeah.
I question people who come forward and speak that loudly about things like that. I question their character. It's not necessary for anybody to know that. I mean, that's personal, private, family stuff, I think. And so I think his whole behavior, whole demeanor was very bizarre to me. And I thought, again, my mother would say, well, those who are guilty scream the loudest.
Now, I'm watching right now on CNN. They got a picture of Kavanaugh, and they're showing a clip of him crying and screaming. And they got his wife in the background. And have you ever met her before? Because she had the look on her face is a look of shame. That's not. Yeah.
I did meet her. I met her before she was actually married to Brett. I was at the George Bush White House with some people. I was invited with a group of people, and went to meet the president. And he's the fourth president I got to meet, so that was pretty incredible. It was Brett's future wife that was his right-hand person, and she come out and introduced herself to us. And that's my only interaction with her. She was a little bit younger then than she was today. But, I think that, it's going to be tough being a wife and really hearing these things that she, and I always think about these sexual predators too, where they get caught or doing these bizarre things.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody must know. Like a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend must know that these behaviors exist in people. I mean, like Brett, I can believe he is a bully. I can believe he is a mean drunk, and I can believe that. He just seems like that kind of person. I do believe he's pretty spoiled. His father's multimillionaire, and his mother a judge and only child, and grew up in a very affluent neighborhood, and pretty much got everything he needed. So, I mean, he probably had quite a chip on his shoulder, would be my guess, growing up. And but people do come to his defense, people who know him better than I do. I knew him in his later years when he was in his profession, but I do see people come to his defense. Was Winwood from high school signed that letter saying he was nothing but a gentleman and this and that. But
if you look at their Twitter accounts, some of these women knew about these allegations way back in July, and they were talking about it behind the scenes. Some of these women who signed that letter. So, and there's even some talk too. And NBC had a report yesterday about how there's texts, how he was contacting some of these women, trying to get them to come on, write statements for him. So he knew before all this became public, these allegations became public, and he was in the background talking to these people.
Yeah.
Patrick, we only got about 10 minutes left. Do you want to tell us about your book, As If It Never Happened?
Yeah. So I grew up like most people in the United States, having a dysfunctional family. I don't know anybody had the perfect life. I think some of the children this day and age probably have a better life than you and I had growing up. I hope that's the case anyway. But this book is based on my upbringing in a small town in Warners, New York, outside of Syracuse. was a farm community, and I write about the things that happened to me, and some of the things that did happen were at later in life kind of hilarious. Like one of the bullies in my town, we had several bullies around. He used to hang me over the railroad bridge by my ankles, and as trains would pass into the bridge. So I mean, there was a lot of terrifying things like that took place in a rural community. You had no one to go and tell. There was nobody to tell. Couldn't tell your parents you weren't supposed to be in the bridge. You couldn't. So all these traumatic things had happened. So I write about things like that happened, and it tells the history of a time during the Cold War too. So it's, I don't know how old you are, but we had this thing when I was in elementary school, is the duck and cover. Waiting for, in Syracuse, New York, we were like number 10 on the list to be bombed by the Russians during the Cold War because of all the manufacturing was there. So in school, we had to dive under our desk and cover our heads, and as a practice for a bomb coming up, the bomb drills that took place. So it's things like that, and the trauma that caused me. And then I was in a home for a while. My mother was very ill my whole life, so they put us in a foster home, and that was very traumatic and very abusive. So it's all stories about that. Everybody who's read it so far has given me great reviews, and it's doing well on Kindle right now. And hard copies are moving slower, but Kindle seems to be where everybody goes to get their books. So they hit the 3,000 mark on the Kindle yesterday.
Oh, very good.
I'm signing off we're on Kindle for 5 days now. So,
well, you definitely have the gift of a storyteller for sure. You can definitely present the story well. And like you said, it's a very well received. As If It Never Happened, you can find it also too in the Opperman Report bookstore. And you were saying that this growing up like that is what gave you the courage, and I guess kind of the craziness too, to go up against the federal government, the FBI.
Yeah. Because I was always searching for the truth, and you'll see if you read this book, I had to build courage to escape a lot of these things that I was going through, and I was terrified by the bombs dropping, and my mother being home in bed sick, and I was fatherless, and it's a pretty good read. So if you love memoirs, this could be the book for you. Good story. It's a good American history story too, actually. Talks about hobos. I lived in a town right near the railroad tracks, so they had hobos coming off the trains, and it's a whole different time of life, a whole different time of life. So, well, thanks for having me on, Ed, and I appreciate it very much.
Oh, Patrick, thank you so much.
If anything else comes up about Brett, I'll come back on.
I was just going to say that if anything comes up, give me a call. I'll put you right back on the air.
Yeah, I will. I will let you know. If you get the opportunity, get a call before the committee. I doubt it, but you never know. My lawyer works on it every day.
Patrick Knowlton, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed. Have a great day.
Good night. Okay, there we have Patrick Knowlton. The book is As If It Never Happened. You could find it on Amazon. Like I said, it'll be up on the Opperman Report bookstore. His website is fbicover-up.com. Now, we did 2 hours of Patrick Knowlton about his whole story about Vince Foster, the Starr investigation, the cover-up. We spent a good, solid, sober, lengthy, detailed interview. He was just saying off there, he thought it was the best one that anybody ever did with him. So we covered that in depth. I'm going to place in the members section this recording of Brett Kavanaugh talking to Reed Irvin, where he's giggling about, the report and the Star, yeah. I know. Well, that's what the report says. Well, we're going to stick by the report. And then he says at the end, "You're not recording, are you?" Okay, because you get these are conversations you have people in criminal cases and stuff like that back and forth, and one side, you guys guilty, well, yeah, but oh, you're not recording, okay, you know what I mean? So, and this, he fell for that. This guy's no Supreme Court judge on any level, but the whole thing is just so. I
knew I wanted to work in HVAC, but didn't know where to start. So I found Florida Technical College. Thanks to FTC, I earned my diploma in HVAC. I'm Jesse Ama, and I'm a PM service technician.
See why Florida Technical College has been the choice of people like you since 1982. Learn more about our construction trade programs, including welding, electrical, and more at ftccollege.edu or call 888-981-9707. FTC, your partner in success.